Welcome everybody to another episode of Radio ISR, and it's been how long, lads? About a month since our last one.
Yeah, New Year's.
And of course, I just wanted to tell you right now at the moment, we have a special guest in the room today, and it is none other than Mr. Ewen Spencer.
Hi everyone, thanks for having me on.
Ewen,
because Ben cancelled.
Yeah, don't be saying. You were our second choice stand-in, you were.
How the bus is Bob.
Oh, no doubt about it, no doubt about it. Here goes. We got the jets up there. Carlos had tried to pull a favour to stop the jets from taking off from the flight line today, but obviously they weren't listening,
This cloud is not as big as it used to be. We're slipping in our old
Carlos.
age.
And I thought you were well connected, I did, Just so everybody knows, Ewen is an ISR who works in Vicenza. And how long have you been with us, Ewen?
About 2 years now, altogether. Yeah.
And you've actually served in a couple of different places, right?
Pretty much everywhere in Italy, apart from Naples. I've done Vicenza, Aviano, Sigonella, and back up to Vicenza.
So Naples is still on the cards then.
I don't know about that one. She'll end up there eventually.
So we got Ewen on the show because obviously it's nice to have an ISR perspective, that's for sure. And just like what Carlos has the AX perspective, bringing on another ISR is great as well, because they can tell us where we're going wrong, because myself and Dave have been out of the field for a while now, and we get very corporate, so it's good to have that kind of proper on the ground perspective. It is, that's for sure. Now listen, before we kick off the main show, which is what we're going to be covering today, which is going to be a little recap of the launch meeting, I just wanted to tell you what we're going to be doing in our next show. And the reason I want to tell you up front is that we're going to be doing a thing called the DISC, D-I-S-C. And for those of you that have been around a while will know that everybody who was an ISR basically did a DISC. And what it is a little psychometric test that kind of shows what your best position would be, how well you would be suited towards certain jobs. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a little bit of fun, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to send the disc out. It's going to be in with this email, and I'll send it out as a reminder again. So then when we get to the next presentation, then basically we'll cover the disc and we'll see how basically how your disc values are. And not only looking at yourself, but it's also understanding the people around you as well, because we're going to look at is not just, how you are, but we're going to look at is maybe that, we have customers coming through the door. Maybe some of them are high drive, some of them are influencers. And then, how is the best way to respond to them and take care of them, because believe it or not, it's not one price fits all. So as I said to you, that's something we're going to do for the next show. But what I wanted to do here is I wanted to show you the Excel sheet for this. And I'm going to put it up on screen right now. And what it is that this is what you're going to see basically when I send it out. And it's pretty straightforward. And all you got to do is, if you can see on the screen, there is basically a most and a least like sign. And all you're going to be asked is a question, basically, which do you think is the most and which do you think is the least? So you can see there on the screen, on the first box up there, this person's responded is their most like them is they're persuasive and they're convincing. And the least like them is basically humble, reserved and modest. And you do that to all the little questions there. And if you scroll down to the very end, you probably can't see it on the screen, there's a thing called for internal use only. And if you've done it right, you can see when you click onto that tab, you can see you will have a score of 24. And if you've done that, then you've done it right. So that's what I'm saying. If you could do that for the next presentation, I'm definitely going to make it very interesting for sure, So without further ado, let's go back to what we're going to talk about here, which is going to be the launch meeting itself. So let me find it. Okay, so we're going to look at now the launch meeting we are. So Dave, did you enjoy the launch meeting this year?
One of the best I've been at in 99, I think, was the first year. No, the Millennium one was the first year I went, and back in 2000. Oh my God, I'm showing my age. But anyway, I think I was only about 5 years old when I went to my first launch meeting. And they're always great to actually, my favourite thing, to be honest, is to meet other people who work out in the field. And, if you have to pick up a car, I remember when I lived in Germany all those years ago, you've met a guy and he works in Spangdahlem or whatever. You'd have someone you could pick up a phone to and see what condition the car was in and whatever. But it was always good to actually put a face to a name of people and meet the girls from head office and that type of thing. So I really enjoyed that. And of course, then we do a bit of product knowledge, a bit of training and that on the tail end of it as well. So I think it was a really positive one this year. I got some great feedback from the guys out in the field who really enjoyed our training, and they really enjoyed then obviously the party at the end of it as well, you know.
And what about yourself, Carlos? I know you had your BMW days, and then I think they did something similar, I'm sure, you know. How would that compare to, you know, what you've seen, you know, we're doing now compared to what you did a long time ago?
No, I think as well. I mean, the launch meetings that we're having now are definitely a lot more productive, a lot more camaraderie, team building, which I feel is very important, you know, as we, you know, get ready to build up for the new year, you know, not only with the great training, product knowledge you get, but also as an ISR, you come back really motivated because you actually see your colleagues winning the big prizes, you know, and things of the sort, what have you.
That's for sure.
So it definitely gets you back to the theaters to buckle down, you know, so you can get prepared for the business year.
And Ewen, this must be what, your second one, was it?
Second, yeah.
And I mean, obviously with two of them under your belt, you must have enjoyed it.
Definitely, yeah. I kind of agree with what Carlos was saying. It's definitely really good for motivation. Like, you see everyone, obviously, who's delivered so many cars in the past year and has done for years and years. So definitely you come back, you know, raring to go.
That's good.
And obviously, especially in Italy, you don't really get to meet much of the guys that you work with. So it's definitely good kind of getting everyone else's kind of perspective on what they do.
I think what Dave was saying about the networking, I think, is a great aspect of it. You meet all the people who did your basic training course. You see them again, you know.
Oh, they're all gone.
You heard it here first. All right. I'm stumped. I don't know what to say now.
You get to poach your next team as well. You're working at the moment. You do good.
A bit of tapping up, that's for sure, you know, no doubt about it, you know. That's for sure. So what we wanted to do here is go through a little recap of the launch meeting itself. And of course, we all know it's all about the awards, that's for sure, you know, so there's no doubt about that, you know, and I think it's great to be able to salute the guys and girls, you know, who win the awards. And I think that's one of the things I really look forward to, especially on that Saturday night and going up and seeing those winners. And it's great. I think it's very motivational for sure, you know, and you really know most of the people that got up on those stages and have just worked to get there, you know. This just isn't something, you know, that they just happen to have a great year because the other troops came back. So that's something I always admire, you know. I always admire that, and that gets me buzzing as well. It does, you know, going into the next year as well, you know. I can see those special performances, you know.
And it's always good to see an ISR in a suit and tie for once.
That's for sure, you know.
Not in the courtroom, you mean?
Right, yeah.
So anyway, I wanted to basically do a little recap here of the launch meeting itself. So, you know, the boys and girls that are in the Far East or Japan, we don't want to bore you around like that, but like I said, it was an interesting event, and I still think that there's some value in here on looking at this and from this, you know. So you can see up there on the screen, we got the little launch meeting screen itself, you know, and you can see there, you know, this day two was kind of broken into sales training, and I won't talk about all the product in the first day because it was very good, but one of the highlights for sure was the sales training, and the sales training really was designed this year with basically get everybody off their feet and get used to kind of a public speaking, or, you know, doing it a little bit different, you know, because, you know, one of the things we're very good at is selling, but we're not very good at sometimes getting up. And so that was one of the things that, you know, because our business is moving on, you know, we're doing videos now, you know, doing a lot more prospecting. So, you know, not having that fear of getting up there in the public is very, very important, you know. So one of the first things we did was this sales training one, and it was a so-called video walk around, and it was myself and Matt Moles who did that. So I'm just going to give a little recap of it right now. So you can see what we did first of all is very simple. We talked about what makes a great salesperson, and we talked about this kind of what's inside the person's brain, and, you know, and how people react. And we talked about the reptilian brain, basically, which is, you know, as you can see there, it's kind of the very earliest brain that was developed in all animals. And it's all about, you know, basically fight or flight. So, you know, the reptilian brain basically is a bit of a cognitive miser. It's there to reserve as much energy as possible. So it only gets stimulated if something's fast or novel or visual or concrete or high contrast. So it's a bit like when you're watching television advertisements, you know, they're trying to get the message straight away to you, you know, to get your interest level. And then once you got your interest level, then you can give a bit of facts and figures after that, you know. And then we moved on and we talked about then the right brain we did, and then the left brain and the right brain. And the left brain is the, you know, the mathematical, is the analyst side of the brain. And then the right brain is more that creative, and it's the part that's kind of turned on by pictures and sound and you know, and language and everything else. And one of the things, the important message going across is that when we make presentations all the time, everything is very much left brain oriented. It's not our fault, but you're giving quotes to customers and you're blueprinting customers, and you're printing out milk quotes and you're quoting payments. It's very, very left brain. And unfortunately, the left brain doesn't make decisions. The right brain, the emotional side of the brain, is ultimate decision maker. So we talked about during the presentation, just basically injecting a bit more right brain activity in your presentations, to offer those test drives, more touch and feel, more visuals, get that person exciting and emotional about the product they're purchasing. So that was one of the things we did. And then eventually we gave everybody a task, and this was really cool. We gave them 10 minutes literally is to come up with a video, which is really putting people on their feet. It was. So most of the teams broke into 2 groups, because what we did is we did a kind of a funny used car video, and then we did the other half of the group then basically did, something much more professional about the new CPO program. And I got to say, the videos were fantastic. I mean, the standard was brilliant, and especially for 10 minutes, rehearse time was unbelievable. So we're going to show a couple of them right now, and there's loads more of them out there, but we are going to show a couple just to show what we actually did in 10 minutes, and we rendered them, and then we showed everybody at the meeting themselves, So the first one we're going to show is that little funny one, that one, a kind of typical used car dealer video, and it's none other than Ben Cochran.
I love this.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Yeah.
Morning, it's Uncle Ben, and don't worry, it's not only rice I do well. If you don't buy today, it'll be gone tomorrow. Our prices are high, but don't worry, there is wiggle room. We offer OPP, which is overpriced plan. A warranty is not worth the paper it's printed on, but don't worry, it's supposed to make that noise. As soon as you leave the lot, you're somebody else's problem. You'll really appreciate how fast they depreciate. These are the best deals on brands you've never heard of. Sure, who wants to buy Japanese? After all, you remember Pearl Harbor. Get down here to Uncle Ben's, where the prices, the lower your standards, the lower the prices. Z-Bert, and how much a Z-Bert?
I know, without embarrassing Ben, it was great, wasn't it? But without embarrassing him, Ben, confided with me, it wasn't kind of his thing to be able to get up in front of people or whatever, And I can tell you, he did that video, and on the Monday morning, we all know he went back and he shot his first video on the location he did, about his program and everything else. And the video was absolutely phenomenal. So that's what it takes sometimes. Sometimes you think you got a bit of a fear. Sometimes you think that this is going to be a lot more difficult. And then you actually do it a couple of times and you get very, very good at it. And I know you really do a lot of videos. Yeah. So I know that for a fact. So, it's something that you've developed as well. And I'm sure the first few times were difficult.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously getting used to, the most embarrassing thing is everyone seeing you do the video as they walk past.
Yeah,
you get all sorts of different reactions, but
and me arriving into your office going, "We're live,
yeah.
We're live. Tell us about the program."
But yeah, it's you get used to it, just like you said. It's no big deal. You're used to doing so many presentations in front of different people, high rank military all the time, So if you can do that, you can easily get in front of a video.
And that's why we're here in Radio ISR, and you are so natural at this right now at the moment as well, which we didn't doubt that he could no problem fit in to do this, That's for sure, Or learned natural.
Learned natural.
Yeah.
There's no such thing, right?
Yeah, that's for sure, And then, like as I said to you, the other part of it really was basically to do that professional video, because we wanted to do was get the lads basically thinking about going back and then on their location, basically to start making their own videos, doing stuff on Facebook and putting stuff out there, which is really the big medium. We spoke about it in many episodes before, So this is another one we did, which is basically the more professional one. And then we did it on the CPO, because CPO is kind of the buzz right now at the moment, So let's have a look at that.
How are you guys? My name is JC Gilligan, and I've been with the MAS team over 10 years now, winning many customer service awards. The reason for my video today is to introduce you to the all-new CPO program. Guys, I gotta tell you, I've been selling new for many years, but I am absolutely blown away by this new CPO program. And here is why. We give you a 172-point checklist. What about this? A 3-year, 36,000-mile worldwide warranty that no other used dealership can provide. Also, a complete history of the vehicle's also a complete history of the vehicle through Carfax. What about that, guys? So here's one example, just arrived on the lot today. This is the stunning 2017 Toyota Camry SE. Only 24,000 miles and equipped with many stunning features such as the automatic transmission, the backup camera, leather interior, power seats and a USB connection. So guys, if you want more information about this fantastic CPO program, come and see me, call me, or drop me a like on Facebook. Thank you for the time today, guys, and see you soon.
Isn't that mental?
Not bad for 10 minutes work.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? You know, and we were blown away. We were, you know, we'd really, you know, we'd put the presentations together. Myself and Matt did, and we thought to ourselves, will we get one or two good videos? You know, because we were going to show the top three, and it was unbelievable. I mean, when you know, they always say they were all the standard was really good and it was hard to judge. I mean, the standard was really good and it was really hard to judge. You know, even Ewen didn't make it, and his video was really, really good. You know. So I have to say that's something that we should, you know, that I think is very, very important, you know. So what I want to do is just to finish this off, certainly my point of view here, I wanted to talk about some of the interviews we did, because Radio ISR was live at the launch meeting. Absolutely, yeah. So
on the red carpet, huh?
Yeah. And Carlos had a great idea. He says, you know what we should do is we should, you know, get down there and absolutely, you know, film some of the guys, you know, and then, you know, get their opinions for the year, which I thought was a great idea, and we put it together. So we're going to talk about the first one. I put Matt Moles, which I just mentioned, helped me in my presentation, so I'm fitting to put him in this part here. So Matt won Supreme Salesperson of the Year for the AX, and I can tell you from a standing start, and that's what he did do. It was an unbelievable job it was, you know. So a little interview here with Matt, and I'll show you to you right now.
6 deliveries, and this year, first year back to the UK. I think I'm from the PX program, or is it second?
First year back into sales in the UK, yeah, started January the 1st, so first full year.
Congratulations. So you should be up on the stage this year, maybe, potentially?
Hopefully, I think so. Hopefully, yep.
All right. So what's in the bag for as prizes for you this year if you're up on the stage?
I think there's just a cash prize this year. It's a pretty big cash prize. I'm happy with that, so I'll take that, no problem.
Good man. Any advice that you have for any of the new ISRs coming to the company and maybe be up on the stage competing against Matt Moles next year?
Try not to beat me, I think. let me win again. No, it's obviously seeing people up on stage winning. It's always been, for me, motivation for me to get up there next year and try and beat them. So I guess I'll be the guy they're gunning for next year. So last year I was sat this time last year watching Tony collect the award. So for me, I was watching Tony saying next year that's where I want to be, and hopefully this year that's what I'm going to get. So
definitely setting those goals and self-motivation is actually the key to success and getting it done.
Exactly, yeah. That for me was the motivation this year. So I'm assuming the new guys coming in would use that same motivation as me.
Good on you, Matt. We definitely appreciate everything you do. Congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
You know, good luck on 2019 as well, and we look to see you later.
All right, take care.
Matt has woken the tiger, because I'm sure Tony now will be looking to take back her title again this year. That's for sure, you know. So then I had the pleasure myself, I think, to have the interview with Pater Marchi, and he's, you know, our top ISR here in Italy, and he's certainly one of the top ISRs in the company for sure. And as you can see, he picked himself up some nice awards he did this year. He had Supreme Salesperson of the Year, which was by percentage, and he had Supreme ISR of the Year runner-up for the PX. So 2 great awards, delivered a shed load of metal, and we're going to watch his interview right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have the infamous, not famous, the infamous Pater Marchi with me right now at the moment. And, you know, most of you might know him, and maybe if you're in the Far East and the Middle East, you don't know him at all, but I can tell you one thing about Pater. He started from a cold start this year on January 1st and delivered how many units?
160.
160 units in 1 year from a cold start is absolutely phenomenal.
It's a good job, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're not modest at all about it, you know. I appreciate that. On a serious note, Pater, I know this is not your first big year in the company. I know you've done many other great years on there, but what would you say to the boys and girls at home, someone who's brand new in the company, what would you say to them?
I think it takes a little while to get your business built up, and starting off, I think you should learn in your first year, and then when you get into your second year and your third year, you can start to see the money coming in and why we all joined the company.
Great. So some great advice there by Mr. Pater Marchi, that's for sure, you know. And then we look at the next one. I had the pleasure of chatting to Jason Gilligan, I did, and me and Jason go back a long, long time. I knew Jason as a young boy when he used to come visit Germany and see his, you know, relatives over here. Do you remember? Yeah, back in Wiesbaden in the good old days, you know. And Jason's really grown up in the company, and he's really gone from, you know, strength to strength year in, year in, and he had a really decent year last year, you know. So let me show you his interview.
Not too bad, yeah, nearly 90 cars. Disappointed I didn't do 100, but, you know, we'll get there next year.
You'll have your open order bank to go in from there, you know. And would you like to say anything to your mammy or your daddy or something like that?
Yeah, Ma, I'd like to say thanks for all the cups of tea you made me over Christmas, and yeah, we'll see you again next year, all right?
That's a real Oscar-winning speech. All the cups of tea.
And then I got a nice little interview here with Sarah Pugh, and Sarah is in Rota, and she'll tell her little story now.
With me today, and Sarah, where are you working?
I work down in Rota in Spain.
Okay, and how long have you been there?
I've been there since August.
You've been there from August, yet you're setting the world on fire. What's your secret?
Oh, I don't know. It's just I'm happy to be in Spain, so I think that if the location's right for you, then that's the best.
Go on, tell us now. You're near the beach, right?
Yeah, 5 minutes from the beach.
Okay, so maybe other guys in the Far East, the Middle East, maybe not well familiar with the geography in Europe, but Spain is a lovely Mediterranean country. You know, you got seas, you got beaches, you got everything else, and at the same time, you're selling a bunch of cars as well.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, that all helps as well.
Let me ask you this. I know it's only early days for you, but, you know, is there anything that you really learnt this year, or anything that maybe you could pass on as a tip to everybody else that's out there?
I think just be confident in yourself. I think that was the main thing. It's a one-man location, so there's only me there. So it was just to have the confidence and just deal with people correctly.
Very wise words, isn't it?
Very wise words.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. You know, she was a good pleasure. She started in Graf, she trained there under Joe Dunn, and then she got promoted and went off then to Rota in the end, and she's done a solid job there.
Really
she
took
has
the opportunity.
Yeah, it's great. You know, no doubt about it. You know. So, Dave, we're going to move on to the sales training that you were involved in, which was sales training 2, which was yourself and Mr. Chris Law.
That's right. Yeah. So we had the pleasure of presenting. Basically a Facebook Live presentation, which was designed, like in the other presentations that we were doing this year in training, it was designed to take people out of their shell a little bit and to show the benefits of doing live videos on social media. And I remember our good friend Perry Williams a few years ago did a presentation, and he was illustrating the fact that if you have a video instead of typed text on a Facebook post, you've got 1,200% more chance of people actually going and viewing your video.
I thought it was 1,400%.
It was 1,200, and I'm sticking to my guns. And the fact is that if people are scrolling through and they see a moving picture, they're more likely to engage with it, and hopefully you can then engage with them. So what we wanted to do was take the classroom and give them 7 quick pointers of what will make them more compelling to have someone actually click on your presentation on Facebook or on whatever social media platform you want to use. And then at the end of that, hopefully you'll be able to then make a new friend and hopefully sell them a car, yeah, because that's what we're here to do. So without going too in depth into it, there was 7 major points that Chris made, and I got to give the kudos. It was Chris who actually put all this together.
Great job,
very
Chris.
little to do with it. So tip number 1 that he gave was that you need to make a compelling and interesting grabbing video title, a startling statement. So that sounds pretty obvious, but one of the things when you do go Facebook Live is it's going to ask you for a title. It's the first thing that a consumer is going to see when they're actually viewing it. So make sure it's something that's different, that will get their attention. Tip 2 is that you have to create a hook within the first 10 seconds. So normally people go into an introduction about themselves immediately. Don't do that. Create your hook immediately. First things first. If you've got some, sale going on, or you've got something that, you think is going to really have the main, body of your message, you have to present that in the first 10 seconds. And then you go into introducing yourself, which brings us to tip 3, which is establish your authority. By that, Chris meant that if you want to show that you are the local professional, you can say to them, my name is Chris Law. I'm the local professional here who's many years of experience about importing US spec vehicles to the UK market, or to, if you're out in the Far East, the Middle East, I specialize in delivering local deliveries to you back in the US when you return home. I've been doing this for whatever amount of time. And then you move on to tip 4, which is encourage engagement. And
what's that about?
That's basically going to be asking them to comment below, or
the PM, private message, or what's the other one? There's the DM
direct message.
Yeah.
His point was use Facebook Talk, so ask them to heart below, or do you like the new design on this vehicle, or have you ever owned a Mustang before? Comment below and tell me about it. What did you like about the Jeep, or whatever vehicle it is, but ask for them to re-engage you, because any engagement that you have will also push your video views up, so you'll be at the top of the forefront, because in organic reach is only about 20% of your friends. So anyway, Number 5 is a call to comments, which was pretty much the same, encourage engagement and call people, tell them to comment on whether it be positive or negative, tell them you want to hear from them. And then you have the actual content. The point here was that content is king from Chris. So he wanted to say that at the end of the day, your quality of what you're putting out there has to be really top notch, So invest in a little microphone. It costs $40 on Amazon. Invest in a little tripod or a gimbal. A tripod is $30, But really, the sound quality is really, really highly important. So if someone comes on and it's a really shaky video and it's a poor sound quality, they're not going to watch the rest of it, and you've lost your message. And they won't watch future ones either. So really, just a very small investment can get you away.
And it's so true, because the cameras are so good nowadays, so everybody's carrying a fantastic camera in their pocket, so really it's only a matter of getting the sound quality and, like you said, the tripod, the stabilization, and really you've got the makings of something that's semi-professional.
And then the final point was the call to action. The call to action is what you would like them to do. I always like to have a building in the background that they recognize, so they can see that you're local, and you can say, okay, what you need to do now is click on the button below, and you can dress up your video to have a click where they can just contact you directly, or message me now to take advantage of this or to get your free quote. So none of it is rocket science, but all of it is very easy to do for everyone who's working as an ISO for the company. And we're now starting to see some really, really good return on our investment, which shame on me for forgetting. But if you want to boost your post, make sure that you're boosting it to your local community, and make sure that you change your boost parameters to employees of US military, DOD, stuff like that, because otherwise, for anyone who's working out in the Far East, or for us who's working in Europe, you're going to get local nationals, and unfortunately that's not our audience that we want to hit, So just a few simple tips that could actually get you some return on investment.
Cool. Ewan, I want to put you on the spot, because I know that you went through some of the presentations and you have the ISR perspective, and I know obviously on day one we did the product, right, was the first one we did on the product one, which we're not really talking in the program here, but I just want to put you on the spot. I mean, I know Harley Davidson is a very difficult product to present, isn't it, normally, because it is. So based on that, which do you think was better, the Ford or the Harley Davidson presentation?
I can produce the survey score if you want, no problem.
Both so good in their own right. I don't know. I got to say, I don't know. I've got more from the Harley because I don't know anything about Harley even 2 years into the job. So I definitely took something away from that.
How is that good?
It's honest,
Harley.
Well, I do now.
Anyway, I regressed. So Dave, back over to you. I want to show you the video, which was your top video of the day, and then it was based on this premise here, which was so we'll put that up here live on the screen.
We put people on the spot again, and again it made people more comfortable in front of the camera, because obviously the goal is that people go back and do it themselves. So roll it there, Roshan.
There you go.
Hey there guys, I'm Brett Williams over here at Military Auto Source Ramstein, and I'm going to tell you about the world's best warranty. It cannot be beat anywhere else whatsoever. So stay tuned and find out about it. So it's winter time. Have you ever got stuck on your beater at the side of the road and it's broken down and you think it's going to cost me an awful lot of money? Well, that's not going to happen with MAS. You buy a car from us, you're going to get a 7-year worldwide bumper-to-bumper warranty that covers you anywhere that you can go with that vehicle. We're going to also do rental reimbursements, towing, hotels, food expenses, and it doesn't matter if you're here or if you're in the States as well at the same time. So don't forget, it's the world's best warranty that you're not going to get at any other company whatsoever. So if you'd like the program point, or you'd like to find out another program point, just drop us a comment on the bottom. And if you love this video, give us a like or give us that love heart. And just remember, Brett here at Military Auto Source Ramstein with the world's best owner's protection plan.
So what do you think of that, huh?
I think he hit every point. He hit all 7 of them. He gave his call to action at the end. But if you saw, he didn't actually go in to introduce himself immediately. He gave a big fat claim to try and get the hook, and then went into saying why he was the professional, and then he went on from there. So I think that was, by the way, with 5 minutes prep.
It's unbelievable.
I think, So everyone in the room had some pretty good ones.
Yeah, for sure. They were hard to pick as well. They were, but it just shows you the standard what the guys can do nowadays. Just with a bit of confidence. So what we want to do is maybe go through some more of our interviews that we did there, and we might as well look at Chris Law, because really he gave that presentation, made that presentation. And for those of you who don't know Chris, he's been in podcasts before. He did our Facebook one initially, which was really good. They were well viewed, and there was a lot of great information. So let's listen to Chris Law.
So, Chris, share something with us. How did you? What really made you turn it on last year? How did you manage to turn it on?
Well, the last few years I delivered 80, 85, 86. Last year was the first year that we really went to town on Facebook and social media, and that's where my extra deliveries came from. So keep doing it. That's all I'm going to say. Just keep doing it. Yeah.
That's cool. That's great. And Chris, you're also going to be presenting as well tomorrow, right? And today as well, right? What are you presenting?
So we're doing the Ford product launch today, and then tomorrow we're doing Facebook Live training, or some hints and tips and all that good stuff.
So there you go. And then now we're going to look at George Sherlock, who was our Supreme ISR of the Year second runner-up. George's second proper year in the company, and I think he delivered 118 or 119 vehicles, which is absolutely phenomenal.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've got George Sherlock with me at the moment, and George has had a phenomenal year this year. George, do you mind telling the boys and girls at home how many you delivered this year?
119.
119. And that's your second proper full year in the job, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So.
Yeah.
Go on, tell me some more. What was your secret for your success this year?
Just doing the hours. Went in the morning, came home in the evening, but worked the hours and worked the leads and just put the effort in.
He makes it sound so simple, doesn't he? I'm sure it wasn't all that simple, And I believe your lovely wife is pregnant and you're expecting a child very soon, right?
Yeah. February 24th now is D-Day, so it'll be a really good delivery year this year.
Absolutely. And what's your plans for this year? Apart from the number one delivery, are you going to try to exceed what you did, or are you trying to do the same sort of job again?
Well, I have Perry with me now as well, so that's going to be a big help. Active prospect and so on. So between her bringing them in and me hopefully doing the closing, so hopefully we'll be doing a better figure than what we've done this year.
Brilliant.
Last year, I should say.
George, again, thanks again. I really appreciate it, man. Excellent.
So there you go. There's George, man. George did a good job, no doubt about it.
He's a big year ahead of him, huh? Becoming a daddy and selling a shed load of cars.
Yeah, he's got a big. He's going to have to live up to that now again as well. A bit of pressure on his shoulders, because everybody expect him to have another phenomenal year, And then I've got Lauren McMahon. We did a nice little interview from her, and let's play that right now.
Are you enjoying it?
I am, yes, of course.
Whereabouts in the UK are you?
Based out of Lakenheath. Woo-woo!
Very good, very good. And so what have you learned so far this year? Anything that's kind of stood out for you?
Just the possibility, or the opportunities and things that you have and what you can do. It's amazing.
And then we got another than Brian Woods. Brian, great guy, done the job at the AX for many, many years. He had one good year after another he has. And we have a little interview with him. I think, Carlos, you took care of this one, didn't you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good. So how was the year for you, Brian?
Wasn't as good as last year, but it was still good.
Good. So any good tricks coming into 2019?
Oh, yeah, just positive thinking.
Now, what does it for you? Because you've been in the company for quite some time. Can you give us a good insight of how, with the longevity that you've been doing with the company, to make you continue to be successful?
Customer referrals help out a lot, and just knowing the business kind of helps you gauge the year.
Now, you mentioned a good point there as well about customer referrals. What do you do mostly to make sure you get those customers coming back asking for Brian Woods?
I'll just reach out to them occasionally and just see how they're doing, and they know how to reach me when they have just basic problems like warranty concerns and this, that, and the other. It keeps the bridge open so they can contact me, know where I'm at to find me.
Absolutely. Any good insight for these new ISRs that's coming in that's trying to reach the level that Mr. Brian Woods has reached?
Oh, just diligence and persistence.
Diligence and persistence. You heard it from the best.
Cool. So, yeah, no doubt, And then we're going to briefly look at Sales Training 3 and 4. We didn't take part in them. We weren't obviously in the room at the time on there, but I got a good little recap from the guys on there. And Sales Training 3 was again about getting up on your feet, and it was basically the improv on there. You were at that one, yeah? How did that go?
It was really good, yeah. A lot of it was kind of linked back to when I did the BTC, I think. So I already had an idea what the presentation was going to be about, but I liked the feedback from Neil because I kind of thought that there wasn't much improv to do with this job, that a lot of it's kind of practice and then you just kind of get used to it. But when you went in a bit more detail, it's obviously pretty obvious that we do a lot of improvisation in our job. You get a lot of different scenarios coming at you.
I think we're doing it but we're just probably doing it naturally without thinking, which is so. And although there may hear similar objections with people or similar concerns, but a lot of it is it's trial and error as we go through it. But we just have the confidence not to overthink it. I think
100%.
That's for sure. So we got some video here, just a small bit. The sound's pretty terrible on it, but for anybody who wasn't at it, it'll just give you a feel for what Neil and Dave Barker were doing.
Brett had a banana.
I can't continue with that.
I see you've got a St. Bernard. Yeah. Beautiful dog. It's whiskey. Yeah, he carries my Jack Daniels for me. So I take it you like the snow then?
I love the snow.
You ski?
Yeah. No, I don't ski.
No?
I did it one time, busted my ass, never do it again.
Does your dog ski?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Bernie.
Bernie.
Drake, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Much good. I see you coming to get something to eat for lunch, is it?
Yeah, as you can see, I love my food.
You're right there. There's a few little push-ups there, sir. I see you've come in for lunch. Have you talked to anybody about a program for military car sales?
No, I've just entered a couple of competitions.
Dogs here, right?
So as I said, it was Neil Elliott really head that, but Dave Barker was his helper on there, and we got a little interview with Dave Barker. I think Dave, you took care of this, right?
I can't remember.
It's all a bit of a blur.
How long are you with the company? I've been in the company since 99, 1st of January 99.
99. So this is what a glutton for punishment looks like, yeah? Where do you work? And introduce yourself, please, Mr. Barker, to Radio ISR.
So I'm a regional sales manager for Region 3, Little Europe, which encompasses Spangdahlem, Belgium, Holland, Spain, Turkey, the Balkans, Barmholder, and a few other little areas out there.
Excellent. And rumour has it that you just took on that region because you like to travel to some pretty nice places. Is that true?
It is. I used to be in the tourist business, so now I've just replaced it with the tourist business.
And that's why I live in Italy. But however, for 2019, what can we look forward to from your region? Are you going to kick ass?
We're going to kick ass. We did it in 2018, just not quite so much ass, but a lot of ass is going to be kicked in 2019, if I'm allowed to say ass. Am I allowed to say ass?
We just did. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Barker, and have a great 2019.
Thank you, Mr. Courage. Goodbye.
Are we allowed to say ass?
I'm sure we are.
It's a donkey, right?
Yeah.
Kicking donkey, yeah.
Animal abuse.
Oh, jeez. All right. And then we got a nice little interview here with Steve Ball. Steve Ball's been around for many, many years, and it's great to see that longevity.
And you looking forward to this year?
Always look forward to a new year. There's always something new to learn, something new to do, more money to earn.
Let me ask you this. With 20 years of experience under your belt, there must be something that you can give a tip to some of the boys and girls at home that are kind of new to the business.
Absolutely. The only thing that you really need to concentrate on, I was talking to a young guy who's second day today. He's going on the Audi program and all that. You'll get out what you put in. Simple as that. Don't expect to be rich tomorrow, but you can make serious money if you put your head down and work.
That is sound advice from a guy who's got many, many years of experience. Thank you again, Steve. Much appreciated.
More than welcome. Looking forward to a new year.
And now we're going to look at none other than Mr. Brian Huygens.
We're back in the green room. I feel like I should go on my tippy toes so I don't look like a short fry. I'm here with another newbie. What's your name and where do you come from?
Brian Huygens. Where am I originally from?
Well, we won't go into that because you're a bit of a mixed match. Tell me, how long have you been with the company, Brian?
23 years, David.
23 years. And I can tell you that I sat here at the launch meetings and I saw you picking up ISR of the year. How many years in a row?
I believe it was 8.
8 years in a row. So you know how to sell a car.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. And would you like to explain to Radio ISR what your new role with the company is?
My new role with the company, David, is I'm actually the social media guy. So what I do is I help all the regions set up their Facebook pages, their Facebook friend pages, Google My Business pages, Buku pages where applicable. I help monitor them, give feedback on results to the managers, help ISRs out when they're stuck setting stuff up, or help ISRs out with advertising, boost posts.
And I've seen the input you've given me personally is absolutely in depth. It's really fantastic on how to really crack the social media aspect of our business, because obviously there's a lot of untapped business, which hopefully we'll cover in a few of our meetings today. But I have to say, if you need any help, I'm going to shout out to everyone in ISR land that if you need any help on your social media hub, send an email to Brian Huygens. It's bhuygen@militarycars.com, and no one will be able to spell your last name. So we're safe in the knowledge that no one will tap you up.
So true. Although I kind of ruined it on the bottom, didn't I? You know. And then we got a nice little interview here with Mike Duran, who obviously spent a few years here in Italy. He did, and a couple of ISRs in a year in a row. He did.
Broke a few hearts down here, Mike.
He did, no doubt about it. Justin Bieber, I think, is what they used to call him. Was it Justin Bieber? Was it?
He's been called worse.
Mike has a long and sordid past with the company, don't you, Mike?
I do, yes.
Mike worked for us down in Italy back when was it?
2008 to 2013.
Wow. Okay, so he was there for a long time. And just like the Hotel California, he checked out, but he couldn't leave. Mike, what brought you back?
So I have a different perspective on life, and when I was with the company the first time, I actually loved it. I loved everything about it. I burned myself out, but that was my fault. That was my problem. And so I went to go see if the grass was greener on the other side, and I realized how much I actually love this company and the people that I've got an opportunity to meet and spend time with. So I'm back, and I look forward to kicking butt here in the company.
Well done, Mike. Happy to have you back.
Absolutely, no doubt about it, you know. And then we got a nice little interview with Alan Goldman. He's just, again, another person who's just gone from strength to strength, year in, year out. He has, you know, he had last 2 years were really great, and he started this year really well as well. So no doubt he'll have more success, you know.
Don't want to push the issue too much when you're trying to, you know, it's all based upon what they do want. You don't want them to try and get into something that they're not going to feel comfortable with. You want to get that, what they're going to want, so that you can make that marriage be complete.
Let me ask you this. Have you thought of any business goals now for 2019?
Yeah, there is actually one that's just been hitting me behind the neck, and that's delivering over 100 cars. I just can't seem to. I don't know what it is, but
those 90s every year in, year out, it's got to be 99. Although, you know, at the end of the day, 99 deliveries or 100 deliveries is nobody's stuff.
Not 100%, right? I mean, I'm definitely proud of what I did and how I did it. Like last year, I had a second sales for a half a year and did 99, and this year I'm by myself and did 99. So that's a pat on my back. But no, one of the goals is I'm not gonna say I'm gonna, but that's a goal.
You heard it here. He said he's going to. And this time next year, hopefully we're standing here and he's hit his 100 or 101 at least.
Sounds good.
You can really feel the positivity and energy flowing out of that man, can't you?
He's great, yeah. He really is. He's a joy, man. A joy to work with, he is, that's for sure. You know, he really is, you know. I hope he's listening right now, so, you know, but, you know, we wish him all the success in 2019, that is for sure. And then we're going to look at Sales Training 4 again. It wasn't an event. We were there. We don't really have any video to share. And there was some similarities with what myself and Matt were doing, what Perry was doing. Perry also focused on that lizard brain as well, basically, you know, where the brain basically tries to figure out quickly if it's a friend or a predator or as a sexual partner, or should I be indifferent, you know, that cognitive miser. Because he based it all around the elevator pitch. So that like 20, 30 seconds you have to get in front of somebody to make something interesting, which is very much like I said, on that lizard brain it is, you know. So that was his presentation. I know it was well received. I know he scored very, very highly on it, so I'm sure it was very, very good. And I'll do the same thing, Ewan, because you were there. How did it go?
Yeah, very good. It was a bit of a unexpected one, I guess. A lot of good information, especially if you're prospecting on how to kind of approach people with the right body language, which I think actually does make a really big difference that a lot of people don't realise. So yeah, definitely took away some good tips from it.
If I could just to give some input to Radio ISR land, I do believe he scored higher in the surveys than Paul did. Yeah.
Actually, no. If you looked at the survey score, we were actually equal, 4.7 out of 5.
Okay,
yeah. So yeah, it just shows you how great he is at taking presentations. That's all that is, you know. Carlos, were you at that presentation? Were you?
Yes, I was, and I tell you what I took from that as well. I mean, we in the
better than
sales
Paul's.
force. I was about to, throw that out there as well there. But I mean, just making yourself vulnerable, you know what I'm saying, with having that open core, and your first, approach when you meet people, you have your hands in your pockets, or if you're a sexual predator, I mean, it's amazing on what the human body does when you're not feeling, comfortable, with first approaching someone. So that definitely opened up, a different avenue of not only observing body language, but also, controlling yours.
Yeah, and it's very innate. It is the body language.
Yeah.
It was one of the things that we know that people who are blind from birth basically will have the same body language as someone. So it's not something you learn by looking. It's something that's inside us, and the brain is calculating very quickly. So if something jumps out of the forest, your brain is to make a split second and say, is this going to eat me or whatever, So it's all there. And if you have that wrong body language or you come across wrong, then suddenly somebody's calculating their mind. They're already turning off you. They are,
Correct, yeah.
That's for sure, And then we got some nice little interviews to go with this if a little pointer decides to go on. Okay, so we'll show actually Perry himself, obviously, so anybody who's not familiar with him, so we'll show a little video of him as well.
Perry Williams, where are you working out of?
I am now in the UK, Team Phoenix. Been there for a year, second year now in the UK, and thoroughly enjoying it.
So how do you guys do this year for the region? You do okay?
It was a bit of a transitional year. There was lots of positives, but also lots of room for growth. So lots of opportunities going into 19. Boys are pumped up, and we're looking forward to the launch and then cracking on with the year and getting stuck into it.
That's right, because you're just now back into the UK because you were in the Ramstein area last year, correct?
Correct. Ramstein, K-Town, I've been Bavaria, I've been Italy, I've been the travelling salesman. Every 2 years I get moved. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but...
No, I'm sure it is a lot of work for you as well with the family, moving around and everything, but at least you're back home. Any good positive takes that you have going into New Year 2019?
I think as a company we've got a lot of growth in us still. I think if you look at the lineup now and the products that we've got and the stock mix, the program points, I think 19 I've just got this gut feeling that it's going to be a good year for us all, and we just need to crack on now, knuckle down and get our heads down and sell some cars, what we do best.
Absolutely, Perry. Thanks a lot for taking time. Happy New Year, my friend. Happy New Year. And all the best for 2019.
Good Sally.
And we got Kate Connolly. Yeah, nice little interview there. Let's put Kate on.
Hey, my name is Kate Connolly. I've been with the company for about 10 years, and I work on the marketing team in New York. So, all that important stuff that you guys love to use to help.
And I have to say that the ISRs are a massive fan of the intranet page, as you know, because everyone really knows to go there to hit up the quick links and everything like that. And that's one of your flagships, wasn't it?
Sure, I'm glad you brought it up, because that is a great resource, and I'm sure everybody is visiting it frequently. So it is really a great destination to get there's a lot of information coming, there are a lot of emails. It's a great resource to find out what's going on right now without having to ask a ton of questions.
And one point while we're on the subject is that a little birdie tells me that Lotus Notes may be going away. So in the future, maybe bulletins may be going away. So maybe it might be uber important to actually go to that page to find out what promotions we got going on. Is that a fact?
Yes, this is true. It's going to be probably sooner than later that we'll migrate away from that. So it's going to be more important to know where your central resource is for information.
That's a hot tip for Radio IS.
So that was Kate Connolly, and we probably don't say it enough, and that's the problem sometimes, is like with the girls in process and the people who work in marketing in the States and all the different jobs out there. They're doing such a great job in the background, and we just take it for granted. So I really say to Kate and her team and all that, keep up the good work, and I mean that sincerely, and I'm sure everybody else feels the same way as well, And then I've got basically Ewan's cousin here, Aidan Jones.
The battle of the hair.
The brother from another mother.
How's it going this year for the pre-owned? I know that was the first year off the ground. How are you doing with it?
Yeah, it's going really well, actually. We're starting to grow out. We've got a bit of stock coming in, and we're getting the name out there, which is really good.
So how many cars did you deliver this year, bro?
So we did 30 from the off-base pre-owned and about 42 from the on-base pre-owned.
Wow, good dealings on you. So I'm sure that there's room for growth, there as well. So what's the inside tricks for coming in 2019?
Just getting a few more stock on the ground, a little bit more spread across the stock to make them a bit more attractable for the customers. Some smaller cars coming in, so it'll be good.
Absolutely. And also, for those that don't know, my good friend Aiden, he's also one of the spearheads for that whole Volkswagen buyback scenario, though, as well. So how are we doing with that, Aiden?
It's nearly over now. We're nearly done.
Nearly over. Because I've been working hand in hand with the turnovers there in Italy there as well, and it's been somewhat short of a nightmare. So I definitely appreciate everything that you've done, and I'm sure that you don't get paid enough to go through it there as well.
Probably not.
So another one there. And then, of course, we've got Dan O'Keefe. He was the Supreme Salesperson of the Year for the Middle East. Great guy. He's no stranger to the stage. I think it's 2 years in a row he's been having the top award.
That's right, yeah.
And then, Dave, you did this interview with him.
Where are you working now, Dan?
I'm in Camp Buring in Kuwait.
Okay, and for all the ISRs up in Europe who don't really know the lay of the land down there, what way does it work down there? Have you got show cars? Have you got brochures? What way does your sales work?
Well, we're on base, so we're actually on the front deployed kind of issue with the guys. So we're on base. We have no cars. We've got a magazine, basically. And yeah, we kind of work with they're on a 9-month deployment role, unlike Germany, they have I think a 3-year. So what we do is we kind of sell from the screen, sell from the magazine, and yeah, it's been working for a long time. So who am I to interrupt that?
How long have you been with the company now, Dan?
3 years. Yeah, 3 years.
I know from experience that Dan works very well on your social media. Is a massive aspect for you, and I know that basically you work very well on tagging people in posts and getting a good exposure. How do you work that briefly?
Well, I find commitment is the main thing. Once they've told their friends they're going to buy a car, they're not going to cancel, are they? No, it works quite well for me. You know, it kind of gets them included, their family included. They all know they're in the loop. You know, you put a picture of the car. You know, it kind of paints the picture for them. You know, it's nice. So yeah, it's worked quite well for me. And on the delivery side, Facebook is fantastic. You know, it really is.
So we're going to move on to the shout-outs, which we had some great responses this month from many of the RSMs that have sent it out there. I've got a big page full of stuff here, so I'll try and be brief, but I'll make sure that, you know, I do this properly, you know. So I got Perry Williams, basically, he's shout out to his team Phoenix in the UK, and he says, "We will rise together and they shall know our names like a phoenix from the flames." So we're going to hold them to that, you know.
That's a Robbie Williams song lyric. That's what it is. You're not getting kudos for that, Perry. That's a Robbie Williams song.
Mark Burns sent out one as well. A big shout out to Nick Morley, who was his top order writer and deliverer ISR in January 2019, and that is some job because Nick, as you know, is a AX ISR. Correct. So to outright all the guys on the PX as well, I think is pretty phenomenal, no doubt about it. And they had a good month, by the way, so you know he must have some amazing figures, you know. And then Dave Moulds, always Dave loves to participate and send stuff in, and he just says, you know, congratulations to Ollie Johnson and Andy West, 2 new ISRs starting in the KMCC, and guys, you've got a great opportunity in front of you, and you know, we wish you all the success. I know Andy was around before, so he knows the kind of drill on there, so I'm sure he'll start out very, very well. He will, you know. And then also we wanted to send the congratulations to Ben Davis. Ben Davis just got promoted to full ISR, and last month, in his first full month, did 9 orders in himself.
Good on him.
Which is, again, absolutely phenomenal, that is, you know, no doubt about it, you know. And he just wanted to send a big well done out to his region as well, you know. So, and then Dave Barker sent me a huge big list of people that he wants to be congratulated on. He's probably sent me out his newsletter, you know, instead of just keeping it really short, you know. So where do I start and where do I finish, you know? So 1 month in, and many stellar performances, you know. He's got like Davey G, 125%, you know, of order profit plan. But I'm good, I'd see going through this. Tony's done a good job. Janie's also way over. Stevie G is way over in his profit plan. Team Beck 125%. It just goes on and on how many people overperformed in his region in January, you know. So he just says well done. And then he also wants to do is just to say congratulations, because they're going to be open in Turkey again, and he just wants to say well done to Hakan, and I can't pronounce your last name, Hakan. I'm like that guy from the small town murders. I can't pronounce a lot of people, but it's Cayci. Keiichi. Well, Hakan, anyway, listen, you know, what best of success there in Turkey, you know. That's
I met him.
Yeah, same here.
Talking about networking. Yeah, I met him. Hi. Hello again.
So finally, before I close the show out, I just want to throw Dave on the spot so he can do a little shout out to the Goodfellas.
Now, well done, Goodfellas. In January of 2019, they came in and did a region of the month in their first month of the year. So if they can keep on keeping on, We're going to be on a winner this year. Well done, guys.
Hooah.
Hey, hooah. Thanks.
Good. Well, that's the end of our show, boys and girls. As I said before, please keep your suggestions, your comments coming in. It's the only way we can get better and better and really design this show around the ISRs and yourselves. But we do appreciate the feedback we've been getting so far. So with that, good luck, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Ciao.
Bye, everyone.